guys came out, and some people came from quite a little ways, right? Yeah. I think it probably took Dana as long to drive here as it did for Jessica to fly here from Vegas, right? Always. So exciting.
True.
Yeah, right? So a little bit of mysteriousness, right? The C word. C word. I use it all day long, every day. So it's just, for me, it's like my favorite word in the world. So I created Getrichasfuck so that to give you the tools to be able to run your own game, right? Like, I'm really big on that. And anybody who's worked with me, it's like, I believe like you should be completely 100% in charge of your life, and you get to do what you want to do at all times, and don't have to compromise on that, right? Like that is, and it doesn't mean that you like don't have relationships or fuck other people over, or whatever. It's like, but finding a way to where it all blends together for you to really love it, right? But one of the things is that all I can do is give you the tools, right? You have to use them, and you have to use them often, and you have to really adopt them into your life. So we have a really cute little workbook for everyone. Right? Open to the first page, and the first question is, what is the C word? Right?
I have no.
What do you think it is? So you have plenty of room to write. Oh, really quickly, let's do a little tiny bit of housekeeping. Go ahead and turn off your phones if you have them, just so that it doesn't go off. You can put on Do Not Disturb if you want to take pictures, whatever, but like use this time for you, right? Use this time to really like dive into like you and what you're doing and what you want. And like the same for like, we record this, but the same for like the people who are watching this, like just take a few minutes to sit and like be in this moment with yourself and do this for yourself so that you have the ability to really get the most out of it, right? Like we spend so much of our time being partially in things, where we're like, I'm here, but I'm also like checking my watch, and I'm also like checking my phone, and I'm right, like, so whenever I do anything, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and then I just like go into it. Yeah. And even if it's for 5 minutes or 20, like it just allows you to really get the full capacity out of it, rather than being kind of halfway in and halfway out, right? So question number 1, what is the C word? So I'm gonna give you a couple minutes. This is a very, very important word, by the way. Like I write it all over everything. Anybody who knows me knows I use this word all the time. I'm pretty vulgar, so it could be anything really. But this is probably, my opinion, the most important word in goal setting, running your own game, getting what you want, being happy, like, you name it. This word is the key. And the people that can grasp the idea, the full idea of this word, and adopt it in and bring it into their lives in like every way, but like the world is your oyster, right? You can have anything that you want. So any guesses? What's the C word? What's the C word? Any guesses?
I said, well, challenge.
Okay, so challenge.
I heard it. Commit.
Commit, okay.
I know the word.
Don't tell if you know the word. Courage.
I think my brain's off today. I gotta think about it. Consistent.
Okay.
Consistency. Cash.
Cash. Cash is a good one. We love the cash. Control.
Oh, I like control.
Consistency.
So consistency we have. So challenge, commit, courage, consistency, cash, control.
Conniving.
Oh.
If you're conniving, you get everything you want? Okay. I don't even know how to spell that. So, like, is it C-O-I-N? Oh, C-O-N-I-V-I-G. Okay.
Like synonymous with manipulating.
Right? Like, I yell this word at people. Like, yell it.
You yell.
The C word, yeah. Yeah.
Like, see you next Tuesday?
No. Could be.
One of these. Maybe.
Right? The C word that I'm talking about, I yell at people.
Can.
Okay. Can. Can't.
Choose.
Choose is a good one.
Choices.
Choices.
Y'all would be good at Scrabble.
So it's not on there yet. Is that what you're saying?
Might be on there yet. Might already be on there. I'm just taking examples.
Like what else?
Yes,
Okay, so we're gonna do a little elimination, right? I'm gonna give you the again what I said, and I want you all to try to hone in on which one it is. It's up here. Okay, so in order for you to get your goals, this has to be something that is a part of your life, right? It's a part of how you behave. It's a part of what you do every day. You're not getting anything that you want
Do we now shout what we think
without
it is?
this. Sure.
Consistency.
Okay, it's consistency,
Yeah.
right? Why do you think consistency is the most important thing?
Repetitive.
Yeah, listen. I don't give a shit if you do something for an entire month or you do it for 6 months, right? It doesn't matter. You can't get to where you want to get to unless you are consistent all the way through, right? So turn our page, we're gonna play another little game, right? A little pop quiz. So for the people that haven't been here before and this is their first time coming to one of our meetups, you'll learn a lot in this process. It's gonna be a sped through because some of the people have been working on this for the past 7 months. But what I always encourage everyone to do is like go back. We've recorded every class. I have a bunch of podcasts about it that walks you through the process, right? So where we are right now is we're all starting to set goals, right? And in my opinion, you can't start to set goals until you work through a certain process, right? The reason why you don't have what you want right now, right, is there any, and just in case I'm mistaken, right, on that statement, is there anybody in this room right now that has everything that they want? No? Okay, so I'm gonna say it again. The reason why you don't have what you want is because of this process, of the lack of doing this process, right? Because there's all these things that fuck you up along the way, that make it to where you don't end up either where you wanna be, right? Because we've all ended up places we didn't wanna be. Where we're like, how the fuck did I end up here? This is not where I wanted to end up, right? But where you want to be. Ending up where you want to be, there's a certain process that you have to go through. So you'll see a very cute little row of emojis, and this is the process, right? So what's the first one?
Trophy.
Trophies, right? Why are trophies important?
Achievement. Sense of achievement.
Sense of achievement. What does that do? When you celebrate your trophies, when you acknowledge,
Confidence.
like, you build your confidence. Exactly. And why do we need confidence?
To be consistent.
Yeah.
Yes, a bit, right? A bit. Consistency actually builds your confidence as well, right? But what's confidence really, really used for?
Self-pride.
What?
Self-worth.
Self-pride.
So that's the same, right? Confidence and self-pride, self-worth, that's all that whole thing.
Because when you're in like a downtime to be like, oh no, I'm fucking great.
So that, yes, right? When you're struggling, when you're having a setback up, your confidence will help build you to a certain degree. Yeah. People who are confident ask for more than what they have. People who are not confident take whatever somebody gives them. Right? So people who are confident ask for more than what they have.
Yeah.
People who are not confident take whatever people are willing to give them. So if you're not happy with what you have right now, and I'm not saying not being grateful, I'm saying wanting more, right? Wanting more than what you have, you need confidence to go out into the world and say, I would like more, right? I would like to make more money. I would like to be happier. I would like to have better relationships with my friends, my family, my whoever, right? I would like. Right? It takes confidence because what is the fear when you ask for more?
Rejection.
Rejection.
You might not get.
And we all know those confident fucking people that like can get rejected like every other minute, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, they don't even care, right? That's that confidence. That's where that comes from. That feeling completely 100%. Like you can say to somebody, here's the invoice. It's $1,000, right? And not give a shit.
Right. Yeah.
And when they say, ooh, that's kind of expensive, a person with confidence, what's their response back? Yeah,
You get what you do.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
I am.
And that's it, right? There's no fucking discussion. When you're confident. When you're not confident, what do you do?
Oh my God, I'll do like 50% off.
Yeah,
Like,
I
oh
can-
no, it's okay, don't worry about
Right?
it.
You start conceding. You start thinking the other person's above you, right? You're above me. I need to try to cater to you to get you to like me because I'm not confident enough in who I am as a person, right? So trophies do that, right? What's the second one? What's the importance of the little happy emoji?
Figure out what makes you happy.
Figuring out what makes you happy, right? Why is figuring out what makes you happy so key?
Because you don't know where you're going.
Why is figuring out what makes you happy so key?
So that you're content.
Well, it's gonna give you the drive to go after
So
what
you know
you
why you don't
want.
have to be committed.
Keep doing
What's
it.
the end
So
goal?
you can be in the moment. But if you're happy with where things are going, then you can actually be present more in the moment.
Yeah, you can be present, you can be in the moment if you're happy. True, right? So you have it takes away a lot of emotional distress, which then makes you happier, right? But when you know for sure 100%, you have a list that you can look at
Okay,
of what
okay.
makes you happy. Guess what you do when you set your goals.
You
Things to make that
those things.
Yeah, right? Your goals are based on these things. So you're not setting goals that make you fucking miserable. Because what do people usually do? I'm gonna do this thing, right? I'm gonna set this goal, it's gonna be this big, and then they get it and they're like, well, this fucking sucks. Like, I hated doing it the whole time. It was super annoying, I didn't like it, and now I have it, and I don't even care. Like, I literally don't care about the thing I just worked for
But it was a
because it
goal.
didn't make me happy, right? So knowing what makes you happy is big, right? On the converse, the next emoji is knowing what you hate, right? So both of them, because guess what? If I do shit that I hate, where am I gonna be,
Not happy.
right? I'm gonna be depressed, I'm gonna be angry, I'm gonna be negative. At the very least, I'm just gonna be negative around people.
Oh yeah.
And
You spend money and eat more
Make
food.
you spend money,
Yeah.
right? All when you start doing stuff that conflicts with that makes you feel miserable, like everything starts to fall apart,
Yes.
right? So a couple of things that I hate, right? Like would be like preparing my own food.
Yeah.
Very super simple, but I hate it. I will actually not eat. I just won't eat because I don't want to make food because it's like right? It makes me like so crazy. Like the thing, it's completely dumb. But we let dumb shit fuck up our day all the time. Like all the time. One thing, and it's like you agreed to do that you fucking hate doing, and you're like gonna bitch through it the whole entire time, but you're doing it because it's for somebody else and they want to, and blah, right? And you go down, da 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 da. Instead of just saying, you know what, like, it's like so not my thing. Like anything else, like I can totally do with you, but like that, I'm gonna be miserable. And just, right, being honest. But you can't be honest unless you know what you like and what you don't like. Right? You can't set goals that are gonna make you happy if you don't even know what the fuck makes you happy. Right? If you don't have a list of it and you look at it and it's like, oh, somebody wants it, right? So if Ryan and I are gonna set a goal, and I'm gonna go to Ryan and say, Ryan, I would like you to do this thing right here, right? If Ryan can't say, excuse me, I need to consult my happiness list and see if this is on it, right? And then I need to consult my things I hate list and see if anything I might be doing during the course of that goal are going to be on the shit that I hate too, right? And it's like, no, okay, it's on the happiness, it's not on there. Okay, good. Now we can progress with the goal. Instead, what do people do?
Okay, yeah.
They set the goal and then they get involved in it and find out they hate it and it has none of the stuff that makes them happy, and then you're like wasted 3 months on some stupid fucking goal, right? So that's why we do that, right? That's what the process is. Build ourselves up, figure out what makes us happy, figure out what we hate, and then what's the next one?
Fail them?
Right? Our regrets. Our regrets, our setbacks, things like that, because they're gonna come up. The shit that we failed at before will inevitably come up every time you set a goal. Every time you set a goal, somebody that you know that is that person that you call a friend who is an asshole is gonna be like, yeah, but you remember when like you tried to, like, remember that little, you know, business that you start, right? It's like, what the fuck? You're not helpful. That is not helpful. Right? But people will. Parents, friends, like they just do. And they do it so, my favorite part is family. Family does it in like the nicest possible way. Like they're super trying to be helpful. And you're like, you want to be helpful? Shut your mouth and let me do my stuff, right? If you get, like I always think of that like Thumper's mom. And it was like, really, it's like you say it to your parents. Like if you don't have anything helpful to say, like then just don't say anything at all to me, right? Like let's not talk about it. But your regrets are gonna come up. Your setbacks are gonna come up. And what are they gonna do? When you sit around and you think about the things that you've done wrong in your life, and listen, we've all fucked up, like everybody has fucked up. And the day that we did the training on what have you fucked up on, everybody was like, and I was like, I guarantee you the person next to you's list is worse than yours, right? And it's like, it is. It's just, everybody's shit's horrible. It doesn't matter. Right? That is the one thing we all have in common. I don't know one person who hasn't fucked up. Not one. I've literally never met a person, ever, who doesn't have something that they fucked up on. Right? So, looking at those regrets, right? And then what do you need to do? Reframe them, right? So that's our little like sun coming out from behind the clouds. Reframe them. So I give an example of I started a company and I closed it, right? And I spent a bunch of money and it was super fucking stressful and it was this insane experience in my life, right? And after I closed it, I was really like depressed and was like, oh my God, I failed. Like, and I'm so fucking competitive. And I was like, I failed at this. And then it took me a little while and I reframed it, right? And I reframed it into, I got the most amazing education and now can help other people not make those same mistakes, right? I also really figured out what I hated. Like there was some shit in that business that I hated with a level of hating that I've never hated anything before in my life, right? Like, and I will just not, and now people are like, you want to do this? No. And they're like, oh, you know, or when I do consulting stuff, I tell people immediately, I don't do anything. I'm not gonna do anything, right? I'll have the ideas, I'll do whatever, but like as far as like running things and like not me. It's just not me, it's not gonna happen if that's what you're looking for, like wrong person, right? And I can be honest now because I figured it out. And that came from something that was like the biggest failure I've had to date, right? So important that you reframe those things. Next one, our little zombie friend, right? The voices, right? So why, is anyone unclear about the voices? Anyone know?
Very clear.
Everybody know about the voices and who they are? The ones in your head? And everybody has them named, right? And you know, and one pops out when you're at the grocery store, and there's another one that comes only when you're trying on cute clothes, and there's like another one that talks to you anytime that you're like looking at your thing, waiting for someone to respond to your text message, right? Like,
Yeah.
got it. Okay, perfect, right? So why is it important that we identify the voices?
To get rid of their power.
I'm like,
So you know it's not true. What?
To recognize who they are.
okay.
Not actually you. We're one.
So, if you are running around thinking that the voice, when it talks to you, is you, what are you going to do when the voice talks?
We listen.
You're going to listen, right? Okay, so separating yourself, believing, right, having real belief in the fact that like you don't talk to yourself that way. The you that's the you is like, yay, yay, we're doing this. It's amazing. Like, that's your real voice. That's the one. But it's like so covered, like at the bottom of the pile of all the voices, and it's like an apartment building, right? It's like everybody else is so loud, and this one little person at the bottom doesn't get to talk, right? But then you don't listen. When you're like, yeah, oh, that's my mom. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's my grandma. Yeah. Oh, those girls that, right? I had somebody who I did this with one day, and hers were like these 3 girls she went to grade school with. Like, still, she's a grown ass person and has like 3 girls from grade school still talking to her in her head. Right? Like, that's how crazy we are. Like, we hold on to shit. Like, it's nuts. Right? Or a teacher, or a principal, or a neighbor, or somebody that yelled at you for something walking in their fucking yard when you were 7. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Right? So if we don't identify that there is a voice, identify when the voice comes out, then we're gonna be like, on my little path, doing my goal, everything is great, I'm having the best. I have the number of times I've heard, oh my God, everything was going amazing, and then. It's like, really? Really? Like, go, like, you didn't look at that and be like, yep, the voice is trying to fuck me right now. Right? Because you have to, it's gonna come. You know, and there's a bunch of different things. There's a really cool book by Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil. And he talks about it, about the second, by the way, no one cares about you when you're like depressed or you're like sitting around. It's called Outwitting the Devil. The second shit starts going good for you, those voices go crazy. Right. They do not want you to get rid of them.
Fear of success, fear of actually getting what you want.
Right? So that's when people say I self-sabotage. Yes. No, you don't. No, you don't. No one self-sabotages. It's not yourself doing the sabotaging. It's bullshit that's in your head from fucking when you were 2. Right. Or 15 or 21, right? And you're following it, right? Because I talk to myself like this. It's like, no, you don't fucking talk to yourself that way, right? Somebody else is in your head talking to you. And the second you identify it, separate it, be like, oh, that's the green zombie one, that's the purple zombie one, right? That one looks like an alien. Like, you start to discredit its information. And by discrediting its information, you stop listening, right? And then you start listening to what you want to listen to, right? So what is the next emoji on there?
Is that a water gun?
It is a water gun, yes, but it can have water in it or anything you want.
Kool-Aid.
It can have coolant.
Puts out your fire.
Right, it's our ammunition. It's our ammunition against the voices. Because if I'm looking in the mirror, right, and I'm just gonna use this example because I think that this is a very valid one based on our society. If I'm looking in the mirror and I'm going, I really need to do my eyebrows. My eyelashes could be so much better. Maybe I should get eyelash extensions. Like, oh, wait, what is this blemish? Oh, you know what, I should do a peel. Oh, I have a spot here. Oh, I have a, right? Like, oh, and then I put clothes on. I'm like, oh, I don't look good. I'm a little like, well, this doesn't fit me. This is, what was I thinking? Why did I buy this? This is not right. And you start going and going and going and going and going, right? The only way to get out of that is to be like, hold up. Okay, no. First of all, I'm actually very attractive, right? I'm a super nice person. I have great style, right? I've been working out or not working out and don't give a shit. And right, like, your ammunition is what stops that cycle from turning into a downward spiral, right? Where the next thing you know is you're sitting there with a tub of ice cream, all because of the fact you noticed that you needed to get your fucking eyebrows done. It's like, right? That's why the ammunition is important. It pulls you out of that. And eventually you get to the place where like the voice says something, you go, ha! No. I helped 16 people yesterday. Last week I went and gave homeless people water. Right? Like the ammunition is what quiets that. And then what happens once you quiet the voices?
You do more.
You take control, right? Yeah. Now you're in control. The voices are no longer in control. You're in control, right? And the most amazing thing about that moment of like shit to the voices is you build your confidence in those moments, right? That's your resilience. That's your like, I am fucking strong and powerful and can do this and can get through this, right? Because we've all been to those places where you're like, I'm never gonna get out of this. This is the way my life is gonna be forever. It's horrible, right? We've all been there. It's the ammunition that prevents you from going there, right? And brings you back out. So ammunition. So voices and ammunition. My lovely handwriting. Okay, perfect, right? So what do you think that consistency has to do with this? Because if you notice, every single class we've had, what do? I go over these things. Right? So I'm super consistent about that, right? Why?
We could both be doing it.
Yeah.
Because, look, like they say, doesn't it take like 30 days or like a habit if you, to break a habit or to start a new.
They say that, yes. Right? I believe it just takes the whole rest of your fucking life of doing what it is you want to do to end up doing it. Because the second you stop, then what? You're no longer doing it.
Right, you're
And
back
like all like done.
You're done, right? Maybe you can do this for 6 months and stop and be like marginally better, right? Like, I got marginally better, but like, that sounds fucked up. Like, who wants to be like, oh, hi, my name is Kiara, like, I'm marginally better than I was last year. like, so stupid. It's like, you don't want to be, like, really? Like, you just want to kind of get a little bit better in increments and then go back down and then get like a little bit better and go back down, right? The point of it is to improve and become better constantly, right? Over time, to where you look back and like a year or 2 years or 10 years from now, you're like, I don't even recognize who I was, right? This is amazing. This is phenomenal. Whatever this is, I didn't even know that I would get to have. This is great, right? Does anybody want that? Right? Like, that's what I want. I look back at who I was, I just had my 40th birthday, and I look back at who I was when I was 30, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is rad. I didn't even know. I had no idea that this is where I would get to in 10 years. Yeah, thanks. Right? It's like I had no clue that if I was consistent and consistently worked on myself and did the shit that made me happy, didn't do the shit that made me upset, and worked on the voices and got rid of them and used my ammunition against them and built my confidence and went out and asked for what I wanted, right? Kept my word, that I would be where I am. No clue. No clue that this was where I went, right? And that's the point. So if you're consistent, right? So you can't just, for 2 weeks, run around and say, I did this right, good job, Jake, da-da-da, right? And then be like, oh, that was fun, that was good. And then go back to like not acknowledging yourself on anything, right? You have to be consistent with things. That's the reason why this word is so fucking important, is because it's everything. Anybody can read a book and learn a bunch of shit and be like, I'm gonna do this, right? Or go hear me speak, right? Come, hear me speak, work with me, do whatever, listen to me, listen to a podcast, but unless you're consistent about it, right? Nothing's gonna change. It's all gonna end up just being exactly the same as it was, right? Or marginally better, like a little bit better, right? Okay, so for the people that weren't here, right, question number 3, what we did last time is we kind of set like a little mini goal, right? Figured out a little bit about what we wanted, and I said to everybody to be accountable. Now, for me, accountability, the reason why it's so important is because you're just not gonna fucking be consistent. Like, you're just not. So if you don't have it, it means you're not what? Consistent. You're not consistent, you're not thinking about it, you're not doing the action steps that you need to do to get it. Right? So for the people that were here, right, what were you accountable for? And for the people that weren't here before, and they're just kind of coming into it, write down what the last thing was. So the last thing that you can remember that you were accountable for, that you said to someone, I'm gonna do this, and then you voluntarily, not because they fucking harped on you, right? But you voluntarily went back to the person and said, hey, I just wanted to let you know I got that done. Remember how I said I was gonna do that thing? I got it done. So write down what you think was like the last thing. And just to give you guys an example of kind of how this works, who in this room works with me on stuff? Right? Okay, great. What is Sunday at 6 p.m.?
Deadline.
For what?
Send out ability.
Right? To send your spreadsheet. Sunday at 6 p.m., by 6 p.m., no later than 6 p.m., right? You send me your spreadsheet, your update for the week of what it is that you did that we're working on. Whatever your goal is. Not my goal. I don't care, right? It's not my deal. It's your deal what you want. Sunday, by 6 p.m., you send it to me, right? You have to be accountable to that every week, right? And if you miss a couple times, like, we're done. We're not doing it anymore because you're not being consistent. It's not important to you. People don't give up on shit that's important to them. They give up on shit that's not important, that they don't care about, right? So it's not important to you, so there's no point in doing it.
Because the voices are hard to...
Right? That's why we deal with the voices before we set goals. Right? But people do it the other way around. They set the goal, and then they let the voice just fucking have a heyday with them. And then it's like, well, I didn't achieve anything, so I'm just not even going to send the email on Sunday. It's like, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's like, this is not what I want. I don't, right? Like, so if you deal with all that stuff, right, and you build up, like, this is what I really want in my life, then you will do it. You will follow through. And if you know, and here's the one thing that's really important about accountability, is you have to respect the other person. If you don't respect them and respect the fact that you might lose some of their respect on you if you don't send it, it doesn't matter. It totally doesn't matter. It's a complete fucking waste of time. Right? If you don't give a shit about that person caring that you didn't follow through on your word, it doesn't matter. So in picking an accountability partner, you have to do it. So from the people who were here before, whatever, who was accountable? Perfect. Right? You were. You got there.
Yeah.
Took him a minute, right? But you got there.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of it. It's like, okay, maybe it's like it's a little, this is a new thing for everyone. This whole idea that, like, you discuss what it is you want with other people and then, like, come up with, like, a way to work with them to get it is, like, very fucking foreign for people. Everyone thinks that we're supposed to be doing this all by ourselves. Like, somehow you're supposed to be just trudging through the world and greater Los Angeles all by your fucking self figuring everything out. It's like, it doesn't work that way. Like, we don't know that much shit, right? Like, if I want to do something that's different from what I'm doing now, I have to go learn about it, right? If I want to become a doctor, what am I going to do? I'm not just going to be like, so I'm opening a hospital tomorrow and just doing surgery, right? Like, I have to go learn about it. So this concept that we're like, I have to figure it all out on my own, is foreign to people. So it takes some people a little bit to get going, which is completely normal. But here's the deal, at least you fucking get going, right? And then it's about being consistent after that, right? You get going and then you're consistent. Okay, perfect. So everybody wrote down something that they were consistent on. Right? Okay. So that thing that you were accountable, it's something you were accountable for, right? Something that you were accountable for. And then the next question is, did you succeed? So we set a goal, right? People were accountable to someone else. And, like, did you succeed? Did you succeed? Yes or no, right? And why? So if you did succeed, I want you to write why you were successful. Like, why was it that in the past month you got the thing that you wanted? And if your answer was no, I didn't get it, right? Then why? Why didn't you get it? What happened? What came up? What was the issue? Write your fucking excuses down, whatever they are, right? As to why you didn't get it. Why you didn't succeed, right? I use things, I'm a very results-driven person. There is no, right, it's a zero-sum game. There is no maybe, there is no partial. You either fucking succeed or you don't, right? You're either, right? And I don't particularly like, even though our last class was about failure, right? And this month, the kind of topic has been up for failure. I don't particularly like failure because it seems so final, right? To me, failure is a very final word. Has a certain finality to it, to like, nope, you're done, right? I either look at it as you succeeded, right? Or you didn't. You're still working on it. Right? And you can choose at any moment in time to be like, I no longer want to work on that thing, right? Doesn't mean you failed, it's just not that fucking important to you, Like I said, you're not gonna give up on something that's important. It truly is not that fucking important if you give up on it.
Here's a question. What if it is important, but you feel that you work better under pressure, so you procrastinate?
So we do this to ourselves, right? We label ourselves that we have this, but I like that, because we're just used to doing it, right? We're totally used to coming up with all these reasons why it's either not going to work out, why I do this, why blah, right? Like in your brain, that would mean that you, on your list of happiness, of things that make me happy, is I like to be stressed out. Being stressed out makes me happy. If you truly are a procrastinator, if like, right? Like it goes against the whole being, like our whole being of who we are as people.
But then it lacks consistency.
Yeah, right? It's like, and I'll do nothing and then I'll rush.
Yeah.
And I'll do nothing and I'll rush. And then we programmed ourselves because we don't have enough self-control to be like, no, I'm not fucking doing that anymore because I don't like being stressed out, right? You've probably just never written down on a piece of paper that you hate being stressed out and you like being calm. And then once you do that, you'll be like, oh yeah, this is really not helping. Procrastinating is not helping me, right? Now, if it's excitement you crave, right? I'll show you how to have fun. Right? Like, and do shit that like make you're enthralled and you're like, okay, that was good, right? Like if that hits you, if it's the adrenaline rush of like getting shit done, and like do something that's fun instead of that's like stressful, right? But this is what we do. We have all these programs running of like stuff that we've done, and we don't even like it. Because do you like that last crunch? Does it feel good?
No, I think I like to be, like, I like to just take my time. I'm just speaking personally. And sometimes I find that I work better under pressure.
Well, everybody works better if you have a deadline.
Too stretched out, I feel
right? Because that's your accountability.
I feel like when I'm under the gun.
So that's called focus. So you work better when you're focused. If you have a bunch of time to do it, you don't focus.
No.
Because you don't need to.
But when I know it needs
right?
to be done, then all of a sudden I go.
You focus. You don't anyone talk to me. I'm turning off my phone and all I'm going to do this is for the next 3 hours. Right? I totally get you. Right? It's an extremist. I'm an extremist. Right? 100% I'm an extremist. I either want to do like crazy or be absolutely still and no one talk to me and don't look at me. Right? And there's no gray area in between. Yeah. So one of the things I do is like this morning I worked from home where there was no people around, and so I can get my shit done. Right? I didn't wait till Friday when the thing is like due. I just pick times to focus because I know I'm like that. I know that I do my best work when I'm focused, right? It comes, I go through, and especially when you're in a creative field or you have to do any kind of writing, like you should do your work in a focused environment, right? So reframing that, thinking about it in a different way. Instead of, I'm gonna wait till the last minute, I'm actually gonna give myself like a day at some point, right? I go to the spa when I write. When I write my blogs, I go to the spa and I sit at the spa the entire day, like 12 fucking hours. And my boyfriend thinks I'm a lunatic, right? But I love it. But it's the only way I can get it done. It's just to focus, right? And sit there and let it all come and like be like, oh, and that idea and this thing. And it's the only time I can be creative because we're constantly getting interrupted, which is the reason why I always am like, turn your phones off, be there, be present for yourself. Because we don't do that at home. Even when we're reading a book, we're like listening to something else and looking at our phone, right?
100%.
Yeah. So being consistent, so start to be consistent about focus, right? About being like, this time, I'm gonna allot this time and I'm gonna do it, maybe in a way that makes me happy, like I go to the spa, rather than a way that makes me stressed out, which is 5 minutes before I need to get it done. Just as a suggestion, right? Okay, so writing down if you succeeded, right? Now, for the people that wrote no, right, if you're in this room, this is the thing that you need to work on because it probably pops up every time you set a goal, right? We have patterns in our lives. We have things that like every time we set a goal, something gets in the way, right? And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm gonna set a goal of like I don't know, fucking cooking for myself, right? I'm talking, we're prepping for the ones when I say to you, okay, we're doubling your income next year, right? And when I say that to people, they're like, oh, what? What do you mean? And I'm like, I can't, like, right? If you haven't dealt with the shit that you keep holding you back, like we can't do it. It's not gonna happen, right? And I know I can do it, 100%. 100% I can do it. With pretty much any person, anybody. I haven't met somebody yet that I can't, right? And that's just one thing. That's not like the other stuff, right? But you have to figure out why. Why do you fail at things? And be super honest about it, right? I don't give a shit about most stuff. That is why I would fail at it, which is the reason why I don't set goals I don't want to fucking do. Like, if something's not pushing my buttons and I love it, I don't even say I'm gonna do it. At all. Right? At all.
Much happier life.
Because why?
To make you unhappy.
Because I'm gonna fail.
Yeah.
I already know I'm gonna fail at something I don't fucking care about. Like, I just know that. So people will ask me to do stuff and I'll be like, nope. They're like, why? Because I will fail at that. I will be a big failure at that thing, and I'm not willing, right? I'm not willing to take that risk. Because my confidence, I need it for other shit. Right? I have some really big shit that I want to do in my life, and I need as much confidence as I can get to get that stuff done. I don't have time to be sitting around having conversations with what went wrong. Right? How many people have those conversations with themselves? What went wrong? What did I do wrong here? I should make a list of what I did wrong, right? And analyze. It's like, I don't have fucking time for that. I have no time for that, right? I'm gonna look at a series of 19 things I failed at and say, what did I do wrong in every single one of those? Perfect. Let's not do that anymore, so that I can start thinking about what I did right.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah.
In the event that something does go wrong,
Yeah, it will.
do you not find that, like, if you go back and you revisit and you analyze it a little bit to see how you might tweak it to be more successful on the next attempt?
So, like, learning a lesson from something,
Or just
right? Like looking at it and saying, like, oh, okay,
like
yeah, I could do that
educating
differently.
yourself, like, okay,
Yeah.
you know what, that maybe not.
Yeah, that's part of growth. That's super important. That's part of growth. People who are not willing to look at what they did wrong don't grow. Right? That's huge. Looking at it and wallowing in it and giving it as ammunition. Right? Now we talk about
Giving it
ammunition against yourself, because you're giving it to the voices as, here's a bunch of shit that I did wrong. Please bring it up later on when I'm trying to do something.
when you're doing something.
Exactly. So that's a fine line. Analyzing and looking at your life and the stuff that you can fix, right, which is essentially what we're doing now,
Right.
is good if you're doing it in a positive manner. The second that it flips and to where you start getting a bad feeling
Yeah.
about it, right? Like, this is our
Anxiety.
second brain. Like, this is everything. This in here
Yeah.
should feel good. And even butterflies or excitement, or, right? Don't confuse the two between, like, depression and anxiety and excitement. Right? There's some stuff that is exciting and we think that it's anxiety. But when you start going over and, right, it's called ruminating. You start ruminating and you toss it over and over again and you say, like, wait, well, how could I have done that better? Oh, right? If it ends up in I'm a piece of shit, it's bad. Don't do that. Right? If it ends up in awesome, I'm now better, right? I'm now better and I'm better equipped to do a better job the next time that I have somebody ask me to do that, right? Or the next time I'm in that position, or the next time I want to go after that gig. We fuck up, we all do, right? It's just inevitable. So not getting stuck in it, right? Okay, perfect. So dealing with those things that are the reasons that you don't get what you want, and being aware of them, right? Because the second that you're aware of them, now when you set your goal, you go, okay, so I know that I am gonna do da-da-da-da on week 3. So I'm gonna put everything that I can in place where when week 3 comes up, I don't let that happen to me, right? And I don't let it happen in week 4, right? You're aware of it. of like, I'm not succeeding at this or that because of whatever, right? So I've never been a person who has any kind of fitness goals. I really could fucking care less. It's not a thing to me. But I looked at why, right? Because one of the things I started realizing was I was like, okay, as I'm starting to get older, like I'm just getting fucking tired. Like I'm getting tired. Like I need to be doing some sort of, and I'm a physically like kind of active person, right? But what I had to look at was why, right? Why is it that I'll go with my friend to the gym 3 times and then I never go again, ever? And I kept saying, oh, it's because I don't like it. It's like, but why? But what are the things you don't like, right? Why do you keep failing at this thing? Like you obviously want to do it because you keep fucking doing it every 3rd month, right? It's a desire of yours, but why, right? And I was using, right, the excuse of like, well, I just don't like working out. Oh, I'm just like not one of those people, right? I didn't, whatever, right? It's like just this is who I am. I just don't care. And so then I started looking at, okay, these are the reasons why I fail. I don't fail because I don't want to work out or want to be fit or want, right? I fail because I believe that if I spend 30 minutes doing nothing before the stupid class starts, that I'm wasting my life. And I won't go to the class because it's just I wasted 30 minutes of my life and then I went and worked out, which to me is like a frivolous thing, right? And I wouldn't go. If I have to drive too far, I would fail, right? If the class was too long, I would fail.
Right.
If somebody yelled at me while I was at this class or this thing, I would fail. If I was left alone to wonder about the gym,
That's the worst.
I would fail, right? Like I looked at all the reasons why I failed. If I went, right, if I go with a friend, I'm more successful because I like to have fun. I'm very social in that way, right? If it's at the time I need it to be, I'm able to be successful, right? If I don't have to go every day, I'm able to be successful, right? So on the thing of consistency, right? I started working out 3 months ago, whatever it is, and I've been consistent. I've gone 2 days a week, every single week since then, right? Because it fucking works for me. It has all the shit that I like, and it has none of the shit I don't like, right?
It's huge because you hate it.
It's huge. I talked about how much I hated working out all the time.
Every time.
Right, every time. Right, it's not that we can't do things. It just doesn't fucking work for us, right? We haven't put it into our lives and we haven't figured out how to get it in a way that works for us, right? That pushes your buttons and meets all your happiness and doesn't have any of the shit you hate, right? The reason why we fail is usually it doesn't have this happiness and it has a lot of the shit that we hate, right? So thinking about that, looking at that, being like, why do I fail? Why do I fail? What are those things? What are my criteria to win? We all have criteria to win. We all have a list of what something has to do in order for us to be able to win. All of us, right? So I want you to think about that. So moving into the next page, right? What do you want? So I want everybody to think of one thing, right? Next 30 days. Just one. Don't write 72 fucking things on the piece of paper. You're not going to get it. You don't have that much time in your life in the next 30 days. One thing in the next 30 days before you write, don't write it down yet, that you want to do, right? One thing that you want to do that is of consequence, right? That gets you excited. If you write something down and you don't go, ooh, right? You don't get that little feeling here. Cross it off and write something different, right? It scares you a little bit, right? Like a little bit like, ooh, it's a little big, right? But not so big that any doubt comes in your mind, right? If you write something down and you go, well, no, that's silly, right? No, it's too big. Scale it back a little bit, right? You write something down and it doesn't get you excited, it's not big enough. So I want you to think of one thing, just take a minute before you write it, because I'm gonna fucking hold you to this. Don't even think I'm not. Right? So take a minute and just write something.
That you feel like you can do in
30 days. The how is not important right now. Right now, it will be important in 5 minutes. So it's not important right now. And then after you write the thing down, for the people who are done, right, answer the next question. Why? Why do you want that? Of all the fucking things you could have thought about right now for you to work on for the next month, why do you want it? Why is that the one thing that you chose to put down on that piece of paper? Right? You have to get connected to this thing. If you are not connected to it, you have no chance in hell of getting it. I say this all the time to everyone who knows me. If I want to get something, I have to tie it into my daughter's happiness. Anything that I do, if I can tie it into her happiness, it's a fucking slam dunk. Right? If I tie it into my own happiness, I'm fucked. Right? Because I'm a people pleaser, and I think that it's, right? And I already think I'm happy, so I'm like, well, whatever, I'm already happy, so I don't need that. Right? Like, you won't do it for you. I don't care who you are, I don't care how great you think that you are, you will give up when it starts to look like work if you are the reason, if me is the reason behind it. And do you know how I know that? Because you have voices in your head that fucking talk to you and tell you you're not important and you haven't gotten it this far and, right? Based on results, you are not enough of a reason to get your shit done, right? So you gotta pick someone else, right? So Jake and I just went through this and I was like, you and your comfort in life are not enough for you to achieve your goals. They just aren't. Like, they're just not. You say like, I'm doing this so that I can be comfortable. When it starts to look like work and it's hard and it sucks and you're fucking exhausted because of it, you'll be like, this is not playing into my comfort in my life at all. I hate it, I'm gonna stop doing it, right? But if you tie it into the fact that you wanna go home and see your family, who you didn't see for 4 years when you moved to LA, or you tied into the fact that one day, and this is exactly the conversation we had, I spent 3 weeks this summer sitting every single day with my mother when she was dying, right? That's fucking awesome that I was able to be at a place where I could do that, right? That's my reason, right? My reason is I do shit for my family, to get to do that, to get to be there, not to buy fucking clothes and shoes and be comfortable, right? When that's your reason, everybody knows how I got fucking choked up, right? When that's your reason for shit and it hits you on an emotional level when you mention it or even think about it, now you're good, right? Now you got it. That's where you need to be. When you write down my why, every single person should look at what they wrote and it should choke them up. And if it doesn't, you're not that connected to it. So if you wrote down something and it doesn't make you a little teary-eyed and it doesn't kind of get you, right, and give you a little bit of that feeling in your stomach, then you need to cross it out and write down something else, right? And it might be the goal. And this takes practice, because we live in a society where we're told to like go after goals that are fucking stupid. Like, they're dumb. They don't matter at all. Like, literally, they don't fucking matter.
What if your why consumes you though already? Do you know what I mean? Like let's say like right now I wrote down my why, but it consumes me. It's been consuming, like, say, for like the last 3 months. So it's like, it's already here.
Good.
I just have to.
Okay, don't confuse your why with a goal.
Okay.
So when I say I link things, my why is my daughter's happiness, that's not a goal, right? There is no goal. You can't get to being happy. That's not a thing. Happiness is a state of constantly being, right, over time. You don't arrive one day at happiness and it just exists forever. It's something that you have to consistently do every minute of every day in order to be happy, right? Or you can say, I was happy at 10 o'clock a.m. on Tuesday, right? And from 10 to 10:32, I was happy, right? And then the rest of the day I was like, I was good, I was okay, right? Whatever. So thinking about your why, it can't be why because I want to, I'm trying to think about this in the context of like, even like what we were saying about like going home and, right? The ultimate thing at the end of that, of the like, I want to go home and see my family is I want to have good relationships with my family, right? Like it's like, it kind of has to always end up in a state of being rather than a goal of like, because I want to have a bunch of money in the bank. It's like, no, you fucking don't. You want to feel secure, that if anything happened to you, you feel secure, like you're like, okay, I'm good. Right? So breaking that down. And that's like, it takes a minute. It takes a minute to like look and identify and go like, okay, is this a goal? Is this a feeling? Is this a thing? Is this, okay, good. So if it's consuming you, like mine's consumed me for the past, my daughter's 14. It's consumed me for the past 14 years.
Right. I have 2 kids.
It's constant.
Like say my why or my what do you want is to like move out of state to give them a better quality of life.
There you go.
But that's like something
Yeah.
that sits there because
So,
it takes time.
so it's their happiness. Their happiness.
Right,
Right?
exactly. To have more quality
Right?
time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Totally. And it should. I mean, I will be consumed with this at least until she graduates from high school, right? And possibly afterwards. I don't know, right? Because she'll be like off doing her own thing. But yeah, and it should. It should be something that is like for the rest of your life consumes you, that you and you constantly have thought about. That's a good why. Like that's legacy why.
Yeah. It's like long-term why.
Right? Why I help people has to do with how I want to be remembered when I die.
Right.
Right? That's like lifetime shit.
Totally.
Right? So it should like that. It should do that. It should do that for you. Right? Like I always have this saying. Like I'm like, I don't care if anyone says, "Oh, you're pretty," or "You dressed great," or "You whatever." I'm like, at my funeral, I want people to be like, "She helped me." Mm-hmm. Right? That's the stuff.
Right.
Right? And I get fucking emotional about it.
Yeah.
Right? It should do that to you. You should be at a place where when you think about why you want something, you link it into something that gets you. Like just fucking gets you and drives it home, right? And when you have kids, it's easier. It just is. Like, I'm sorry for the people that don't have children, right? Like, I'm so sorry. It's real easy with kids. It just is like, oh, you know? But even if I didn't have kids, right? My legacy thing, I can still get, you can still get it. But you just have to, right? We're not used to this. We're not used to the idea of trying to think about things that make us emotional, right? Most of us, emotions are a bad thing, right? Oh, why are you being so emotional? Oh, I was so emotional yesterday. Oh, right? It's like this, we talk about it like it's bad. Like emotions are good when they're used for good, right? When they're used for good, like you want to get up, like I want to get really upset about some stuff, like just like, oh, okay, right? Because then I can use that as my power to do it, right? You can't tell me, right? My daughter's school, I'm like doing this annual fund thing, right? And people have to give money, and I don't care. Like I don't care if you give me a quarter. I'm getting this shit done by Friday, right? Why?
Because
of her.
Right.
Right? And that's why I'm so emotional. And if someone tells me they're not doing it, I'm like, I don't care. I don't care that you think you're not doing it. You are. You're going to hand me a quarter right now for it. Because I'm not going to let you fuck up the whole thing for everybody. Right? Like, and you start acting in these ways that are like not at all normal or calm or, right? Like you start getting aggressive about what it is you want, and you start asking for shit when you're that attached to it, instead of what?
Being passive or
Just taking whatever it is that people are willing to give you,
settling.
right? Settling, being passive, just taking, right? Just sitting there and being like, oh, it's fine, whatever the world wants to give me, I'll be okay with that. Right? When you are linked into that why, it changes everything for you. Right? So your why should be something that makes you emotional. So everybody look at their why. Make sure it gets you emotional. If it doesn't, you can go back in and change your goal, change your why, whatever it is that you want, right? Now we're at the how part, right? What's the plan? We have to have a plan. There has to be one. You can't just go out into the world for the next 30 days and think that something's gonna fucking manifest and like appear, right? Manifesting to me is like free candy, right? Like, it's so fucking cool when it happens, but like how often? Like how often do you just like have like, right, all of a sudden your favorite candy ever in the world, like I love Almond Joy, right? It's like, sometimes on Halloween, there's one in my daughter's thing, but like I'm not counting on it.
But if it happens,
Right? But if it happens, it's like, fuck yeah. Right? That's what manifesting is to me. Manifesting is not, it's not something that you can count on, right? Work, having a plan, taking action steps, being consistent. That's what you can count on, right? If I want Almond Joy, I have to go to the fucking store and buy it. It's not just going to appear, except for on Halloween, right? So thinking about that. So the plan, right? So I believe plans always have like just 3 steps, right? 3 little steps, don't go crazy. But one of them I would recommend would be whatever it is that you're gonna do, schedule it into your life, right? This gym thing, I schedule it in 2 weeks ahead of time. I make sure that I have a day, my 2 days, whenever they are for that week that I have scheduled. Right? The same, I schedule what time I'm taking my daughter to school. I schedule if I'm going to go to the spa. I schedule everything into my life because I don't want to end up at 6 p.m. and be like, oh, shit, I totally didn't make time for that, right? Or Sunday and be like, oh, fuck, I was totally gonna get together with that person and I didn't, right? Because I didn't schedule it in. And I don't believe that everybody says like, oh, it's not a priority. There's some shit that is priority that we forget.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But we just didn't schedule it in. We just didn't put it in and make time for it. So that's gonna be one of my suggestions, right? For your what's the plan. And listen, one of the things too with the plan might be that you need to find someone who fucking knows how to do it and already has. Right? That's super helpful. If you can find somebody that's already done what you want to do and have them help you with it, huge. And you know what the most amazing thing about people who've already done stuff is? They love to share with you how they did it. They love it. They love, take them out for a coffee, a drink, a whatever, and they will fucking tell you every single piece, and you take your little book and you just write down notes, right? Or sometimes I just record it. When I'm with people, like I'll just record it and be like, how'd you do this? What is it? Okay, and then what, right? Because then I can be in the moment as well and I don't have to worry about writing, right? But so scheduling, finding somebody who's done it, which I also call research. I believe every goal you set has a research component to it because what does research do? It identifies what it actually is and it lets you know, right? It lets you know if it's on your list of shit you like or shit that you hate. Right? So research is really good. It's really important for that.
Would you say though that when you have a plan, like what's the plan, would you say that combining that with manifestation is like a double?
By the way, I 100% believe in manifesting.
Yeah.
Right? In my house, we call it poofing.
You call it what?
Poofing.
Poofing?
Poofing. Because I'll be like, I need a FedEx truck to be right there, right now, and there ends up being one.
Yeah.
Right? Like, to me, people confuse what manifesting is, and they rely on it to be the action step, right? Manifesting is, in and of itself, right, the art of creating good vibes and feelings around something until you create enough energy to draw it to you, right? Here's the cool part about that. You can take all the fucking action steps that you want in the world. If you're not also creating positive energy around it, it won't come anywhere near you.
Right.
Right? So those two things are very, very important. Very important to do together. Right? But the reason why I like to give a little jab on the manifesting thing is because people think they can just like fucking manifest and go eat a sandwich and some shit's gonna pop up.
Meditate.
right? It's like, no, you can't go own this shit on the top of a mountain.
Right.
It's not happening, right? But you have to believe, and you have to be constantly thinking you are gonna get it, and you have to be drawing it to you. Yeah, definitely, right? You can't be negative about something and think that it's gonna
Right.
want you,
Right.
right? It doesn't want you. Like what you want wants you.
So plan and envisioning.
Yeah,
Synonymous with
yeah. You can call it manifesting. We can call it manifesting. Yeah,
So the two
Together.
is-
right? That's when you get some real shit done.
Yes.
Right? Work alone is not going to bring you something.
Right. Right.
Right, but if you-
see.
Yeah, you have to see it. When we were building our house, or even I think before we'd even like bought the house, I just imagined myself every single day waking up and making my tea in my kitchen and what it looked like and what it smelled like and standing where I was going to stand and cook dinner at night for my family. Like every fucking day, right? I was so consistent about it. I just dreamed and I created a movie and the sounds and the smells, right? That's manifesting. Right? It's not making a fucking board and then putting the board with all your little cutout pieces of paper that don't fucking mean anything to you away over here. And right, it's being in it, and every day, all the time. Right? Being consistent.
Okay.
It's the key. All right. So for those of you, right, I always say, for those of you that want to like jumpstart this, that really want like this to be something, you've written it down, so you may or may not get it. You can work your plan, however you want to do it, right? But I always like to give everybody a 30-day plan, right? It's just a little thing to work on. This is independent from your goal that you're going to do. This is just like a little thing if you want to take this to the next step, right? I just did a podcast and explained that this is called Get Rich as Fuck in 12 months. It's not called try to get rich as fuck forever, right? We can't do this forever, right? This will end. There will be a point in time when getting rich as fuck will end and we'll do something else, right? We'll be badass humans, we'll fucking, like whatever the next thing is, that it is what it is, right? But it can't go on forever. So you have to have deadlines on things, right? So if you want to, a year from now, 6 months from now, look back and be like, wow, I got a lot of shit done. I got a lot of shit done in the past. I got more shit done in the past year than I did the 5 years before that, right? That's the stuff I like. I like it when people have, like Ryan's story. Can I say your story?
Oh, go right ahead. Use
So
whatever.
Ryan's story where last year, right? Last year, 2017.
Yeah, go ahead. Last year.
Yeah, I forgot for a second. 2017, Ryan made $40,000, right? 2018, how much money are you gonna make, Ryan?
Like
No, not how much you think you're gonna make, how much you are gonna make.
100,000.
Okay, right? Like, different.
Well, yes.
Different person, different life. A $40,000 life is a different life than a $100,000 life,
Completely different life.
right? $40,000 confidence is very different than $100,000 confidence.
Yes.
$40,000 happiness is very different than $100,000
As a
happiness.
100,000 take home, it would be 200,000
Yes.
before.
Right?
And what field are you?
Character
Right.
studies.
Oh.
Thinking about it that way, right? He wanted to be a different person 12 months later. Wanted to. Right? So thinking about that, doing the homework. Okay, so 3 things, right? 30-day goal. I always do everything in 3s. I think it's super important. It has it's escaping me what it is, but it's a certain neural programming thing when you do it in 3s. There's like a power to it. Yeah.
My hair school teacher said it's like 3 is the magic number.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so number 1. Right? Number 1, how am I going to use the C word every day? every day, right? How am I going to be consistent? So if I have a goal that I have set, right, how am I going to be consistent with that? If I'm just living my life, how am I going to be consistent with the things that I do, right? With my sleep, with my, right? And by the way, you know, consistency doesn't mean like I was saying with the gym, like it's 2 days a week. Like I don't go every fucking day. Like I'm not trying to kill myself and shit, right? It's just 2 days a week. But that's consistent. If I look at it over the course of the past 3 months, I've gone every week, 2 days a week, right? It works for me. So not getting caught up in the fact that you have to do everything every day, right? I'm like, okay, if I get 8 hours of sleep twice a week and the rest of the time I get 4 to 6, right? Like I'm consistent. I got two days where I had 8 hours of sleep. Over the course of a year, I'm super consistent on that, right? It doesn't have to be every day. I mean, right? We don't have to be so hard on ourselves. Because why? It would make me fucking miserable. First of all, I don't even know how I would get 8 hours of sleep. Like, what time do you have to go to bed? Like, I would miss out on most of life if I did that,
That's nice.
right?
There's so much going on.
Right, there's so much going on, right? But if I can do it twice, just so that I can like be rested and or whatever it is, right? I'm gonna eat lunch. I'm gonna eat breakfast and lunch 3 days a week, like just right? Because I've tried to do it every day, it just clearly does not work for me. Eat breakfast and lunch. All right, right. So number one, how am I gonna use the C word every day, right? Number two, what am I gonna do? Going to do if, and I'm using the word if here, I'm giving you guys a lot of fucking credit because I'm not going to use the word when. The appropriate word is when. If I get sidetracked, it will happen. You will get sidetracked. Over the course of the next 30 days, something will happen that will screw up you're being consistent. It just will, right? And Christmas is fucking coming. New Year's, a hangover, a party, like losing your car. Don't lose it. We have an inside joke about losing your car. Right? Like something will happen. So what am I gonna do if I get sidetracked? Right? Make a plan for it now. Make a plan for what you're gonna do if you get sidetracked. I'm gonna call this person and they're gonna be like, okay, listen, it doesn't matter, you're all good, we all fuck up, we all sidetracked, get back on, right? But what do we do?
So if you know when you're gonna get sidetracked because you know yourself, can you just schedule for that?
I do.
Okay, so like if my time is, I'm gonna schedule up this amount of time to work on this goal a week and then
Totally.
I know for a fact I'm gonna get nothing done from December 22nd to January.
Totally. Then guess what? You
Double it the week before
don't
that.
have 30 days, right? You got 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Just if you know that about yourself, right? I know that if I go to the gym in the morning, I'm fucking worthless. I can't do it, right? It's a very intense workout, this thing. It's very, very intense, right? So it's like, I'm like, we learned I can't film, I can't do, I'm just like done. I'm like cashed it, right? I have all these things in my life that will make me fail. I'm just aware of them, and I just don't do it. Right? I'm not going to set myself up for failure, which is what you do by not acknowledging. Right? I'm going to set myself up for success by being like, what am I going to do when I get sidetracked? What am I going to do when Archer decides that she's having a nervous breakdown, because she does every month, right? Several fucking times, and I'm going to spend I was supposed to be doing something and I'm not, and so I'm going to be with her, and she's like, I already know what's going to happen, right? What am I going to do when X? What am I going to do when X happens? What am I going to do when X happens? Like when you get sidetracked.
I have a question. Because I don't know if I've heard your story along the way. Is there anything that you could name, like something that you did really quick, like something that you say quickly, like how did you become successful with hair lingerie? What was the biggest thing that you did?
Yeah, it took me like 15 years. I think that that's the most fascinating part to me is like, I don't think anything's quick. I don't.
Well, not like a quick rundown of what you're saying.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So for me, right, I moved to LA when I was 20 and I didn't know anyone. I knew not one person. And started working at a salon in Rodeo Drive and made $200 a week. And that was horrible, trying to live in Los Angeles on $200 a week. So I went to work at 9, got off at 6, Tuesday through Saturday. And then I left work at 6 and went and from 7 to 11 worked as a hostess at the Santa Monica airport. And then on Saturday, I would get off work at 6 and I would drive to Turlock, which is where I'm from, which is 5.5 hours, and go do clients on Saturday and Sunday. On Sunday and Monday. And Monday night, I would drive back to LA and I would do that. And I did that for probably about 5 years.
Wow.
Right? So that I could afford to live here. And while I was building my career as a hairstylist, right? I moved to a better salon, and then at the better salon, right, you get better clients. So I had better clients. I started having clients where I was like, started traveling with them, and I started doing extensions. And very quickly saw that I was like, oh, I love this. This is amazing. Like the idea of like how you feel when something like that happens to you is huge, right? You're like, oh, I can go from this to this. You can transform people. You can give them whatever they want, right? And I loved it. I thought it was great. And so then I created my own line because what I found didn't work for me, right? And then I spent 8 years fucking just killing myself, right? To make it perfect, to try to do it, right? It was out of necessity I created for myself, but then I started doing it with other people. But I spent 8 years trying to get it right and trying to have it to be to where it's like, all right, now this works for everything. Now this is whatever it is. And building that before I made any money, right? When I was just like putting money into it. 8 years. While I'm working 60 hours a week in the salon and having a little kid. And I always tell this part about my story because I think that people are confused at the fact that like you don't have to fucking work and you can end up with shit. Like I missed the first 6.5 years of my child's life. I missed it. I had a person who lived in my house and took care of her because I was gone working. Right? And all the while, right, I'd come home, I'd put her to bed. If I came home, if I wasn't traveling, I'd put her to bed, right? And then I would stay up until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, like writing all the stuff, looking at everything, going over, what are the colors that I want? Okay, these are the clients I've been training on. What are the issues are they having? How do I change this? How do I do this? How do I make it better, right? And then after all that hard work and effort and manifesting, right? Putting in the positive, I know it's gonna work out. I know it's gonna work out. I know it's gonna work out. It started working out, right? The most fascinating part is my company to me doesn't have the same weight of success as I've gotten from helping people, right? I started that out of necessity and I kept going because I needed to and because I had a kid, my why, right? I had a kid that I had to make sure. I was like, she's gonna wanna go to college one day and I wanna take care of her. But my actual kind of level of how I categorize like success, so much more of it has come from the people who I've made successful, who have helped work with them, right? And that's when you start getting into that, like what you hate and what you love. I had no idea, right? I'd never thought about it before. I just did. I just worked. I never thought about what I hated. Like now I'm real fucking clear on it. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Like I'm not, like if you asked me to start another company, I'd be like, nope, absolutely not, right? Now I help people start companies, but I'm not doing any of the fucking work. Like I don't want to stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning doing that shit ever again. You want to be where I am and you came from where I came from. Like I was born in a trailer park, by the way. In the trailer park, in the trailer, in a fucking chair. My mom had me at home because she didn't believe in going to the hospital, right? Like from that to like where I live now is like the coolest thing I've ever seen in like life. Like I'm like, that's amazing, right? But you don't have to. You don't have to be born in a trailer park to get to do this. You don't have to, right? Everybody's journey is different. The one thing I will say, I don't know one person, not one, I don't know one person who's gotten there without working hard.
Definitely not.
Not one.
I would just marry, kind of, I would say though that you can expedite the process.
Yeah, doing the work.
By starting at the bottom and working harder than anybody else.
Totally.
And if somebody tells you it's going to take 5 years,
And working on yourself.
it could take 1 year as long as you're.
People told me it'd take me years and I did it in
The
one.
point I was trying to make was like, most people are working extremely hard to support their life or their family, and not most people doesn't include what makes them happy, you know?
Yeah. So the hardest working people that you see end up getting nowhere. It's just how it is, right? There's a lot of people who work harder than any of us,
But there's still accomplished nothing.
right? They accomplish nothing.
Working smart.
Yeah, right. So they use that phrase, working smarter, not harder. And what it actually just means is like you're just working towards something. You're not just working for the
Like a work.
pleasure of working, right? Or because you think you have to. But that's what I did for a long time. Like I think that had I gotten the information that I have gotten in the past like 7 years of my life, if I had this shit when I was 25, oh my God, Lord help us where I would fucking be right now, right? I didn't get it till 7 years ago, right? I just worked like a lunatic,
Right.
right? Until I was 32 and was like, I can't live this fucking life anymore. Like, this is insane, right? When I say that I missed the first 6 years of my daughter's life, I fucking missed it. Like, I wasn't there, right? Guess what? Super cool. I've been here for the past 7, right? And for the past 3, like, I've like been there, like to where my daughter told somebody at her school that I didn't have a job. Right? Like, she just thinks I just like exist to be around her. Right? So I think everybody, I mean, and that's why to me, like, this is great. Like the idea and like watching it and doing and tuning in and podcasts, it's great. The people who get the results are the ones who work with a mentor, who work one-on-one. The people that I work, the reason why Ryan has the results he has is because we've worked together like beasts for the past year on this, right? The reason I have the results that I have is because I've worked like a beast for the past 7 years with my mentor, like a beast, right? I spend 10 hours twice a year where we just sit and we go over everything, right? Like it's like a beast. Does that answer, kind of?
Yeah.
Question? Okay. All right, so number 3, right? So number 1, how am I going to use the C word every day, right? Number 2, what am I going to do if I get sidetracked? And number 3 is... who will know? Who's going to know if you get sidetracked? Right?
Well, if you're canceling things or you reschedule, or those people.
I'm checking on myself.
So if you say that you're going to do... okay, so you're going to know.
I'm sure you'll know. But
Is it like slightly delayed? Usually it happens, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute.
Okay. Right, here's our accountability piece. Who's gonna know? Who's gonna know that you give a shit about their respect for you, for the fact that you didn't do it? Right, that you got sidetracked and didn't get back on track and didn't achieve what it is you want. Who's gonna know? And for those of you, like if you didn't find something that you want and get emotional, like just take the time, do it tomorrow when you wake up, tonight after you leave here, whatever, right, but find something and get connected to it, right? And make a plan. And like I said, if you need help with a plan, find someone who knows what it is. I don't know everything about everything that everyone wants, right? There's some stuff I know about, so I help people with that. There's some other shit I just don't know about, right? It's just not my thing. I don't know, it's not a thing that I have, right? So I'm not the best person for that. But there's some stuff that I am, right? There's some stuff that Ryan's the best person for. There's some stuff that Jerry's the best person for. There's some stuff that Jessica's the best person for, right? There's all kinds of people, right? And then, how am I going to be consistent? Every day. Figuring that in. Is it scheduling? Is it waking up in the morning and you have your goals, whatever it is, written on a piece of paper, your plan, and you're like, got it. Do it, right? How are you going to be consistent, right? What am I going to do if I get sidetracked, right? How do I get back on track? And what do you do when you get sidetracked? If you're the kind of person that beats yourself up over getting sidetracked, plan for that too, right? Plan for ammunition against that and be like, no, you know what? Like, I'm a good person. I just got a little sidetracked. I just have a little issue, right? And then 3, who will know? Find somebody that will know about this and who's gonna care and who's really gonna be like, dude, like, you said you were gonna send me the thing on Sunday. You didn't send it to me? You know, and they're not gonna be judgy and shitty and like, be like, right? But like, who's gonna notice? Pick someone who's gonna fucking notice if you don't send them the thing, right? I'm busy and I have a lot of stuff going on. I still fucking know. I'm like, where is my email?
I sent it.
Right? And Ryan's always like, I sent it. I was like, oh, it got lost in all of my fucking emails, right? But that's what you want. All right, so I highly encourage you guys. It's a little late. Everyone looks a little sleepy. Just kidding. But stay, have a glass of wine, chat, hang out. There's some really cool people here. I'll be here chatting with you afterwards. Okay? And let's get rich as fuck.